Okay, here's a video on roots. During this video, you're going to see me use this calculator quite a bit. This is the same calculator that we use in class. If you've never seen this on a computer before, as I'm going through some of the problems, you can look right here and it'll show you which key I'm hitting each time. So if you want to follow along or you want to rewind or whatever, you can just look right here at the history of how I'm hitting the keys right here. You'll see the numbers and watch me do it here as well. Alright, so let's get on with this. Alright, roots. Square roots are, they're pretty easy. You've been doing this a while now. Let's just make sure you know what to hit in the calculator. For square roots, simple like this, you're going to hit second button and this x squared. You see that it's got the square root sign right above it. And it'll look like this. Then all you got to do is plug in the numbers. So we'd hit 81. You can close the parenthesis and hit enter. And it'll tell you what the number is. So the square root of 81 is 9. If you're ever doing a square root and there's a negative sign on the outside of it, then the negative sign will be in the answer. You need to remember that. So let's look at this one. Let me clear the history here and clear it here. Clear again. Now, I need to do the square root of 21. So I'm going to hit second x squared, which is the square sign. Put in the number, close the parenthesis, hit enter. I get 11. So in this case, there was a negative sign here. The negative 11 would go with it. The last one, we have the square root of 144. So I hit second x squared, which is that square root. I put in the number 144, close the parenthesis, hit enter, and I have 12. So those are really simple. You've been doing that a while. Hopefully you know this. If not, now you do. Alright, what if we have variables in the numbers? This might be new for some of you. Okay, for variables in the number, first we'll do the number, we'll just take the square of the number. So in this case, we did it before, but let me show you again. Okay, I'm going to do the square root of 81. So second square root 81, close, enter, and I get 9. So my number's 9. Now the best way I've found variables is to list them out. Okay, I have two x's here. If I'm talking about a square root, which we work with the most, there's an implied 2 here. So I'm looking for groups of 2. So here I have a group of 2. So I could pull this is an x group. That means I can pull an x out. So my answer would actually be, in this case, 9x. Alright, how about this one? Square root of 144. Alright, second, 144, close, enter, is 12. Alright, so here I have 12. Now if I list out these x's, I have 1, 2, 3 x's. I have 4 y's. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm looking for groups of 2. Here's 2 x's. Here's 2 y's. And here's 2 more y's. Alright, so I have one group of x's, so I can pull out 1x. But I have 2 groups of y. So that means I can pull out 2. See this x right here that's left over? That means it would be left inside of this square root sign. So I would still have the square root of 2 left inside. That would be our final answer. Let's take a look at another one. What if we're taking the fourth root of something? This might change up a little bit, but it's the exact same concept. Check it out. Alright, I got 6 A's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 8 B's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 3 C's. 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for groups of 4. Here's 4 A's. 1, 2, 3, 4 B's. Uh-oh, 4 more B's. okay, and no groups of C's. 4 groups. I only have 3. So now what can pull out? I can pull out an A. I can pull out 2 B's. See how I have 2 of them? 2 B's. That's all I can pull out. So now what do I have left inside? I have 2 A's left inside, and I have 3 C's left inside. And that would be how we would take the square root if we have variables and things of that nature. Alright, what if we do not have a perfect square? This is what gives a lot of young people trouble. And it can be tricky, but with practice you can do this. Alright, watch how it works. Well, if you ever, like, I'm going to take the square root of 72. So I go second square 72, close and hit enter, and look what happens. I get this number that's not an even number. Okay? On test and on SOLs and things like that, it won't have this number right here listed. The answer's going to look different. Let me show you what it'll look like. What you're going to have to do is do factor trees. And what you have to do is ask yourself, what times what makes 72? What times what is 125, etc., etc. So let me show you how you break them down. All right, 72 I know is 8 times 9. Now that 8 will break down into 2 times 4, and that 9 will break down into 3 times 3. Now that 2 won't break down, but this 4 will break down into 2 and 2, 3 and 3. Now we're doing the exact same thing we did before. We're looking for groups. Here's a 2 implied. So I have, there's a group of 2 2's, and there's a group of 2 3's. So I can pull out a 2 and a 3. Now if you pull out 2 different numbers, like when I pull out a 2 and a 3, I have to multiply them together. Alright, so I pulled out a 2 times 3, and I have a 2 left on the inside. Let's go ahead and clean that up. 2 times 3, 6, square root of 2 would be my final answer. And that's how you're going to see it on SOLs and tests. Alright, so watch it again. 125. I know that 5 times 25 is 125. This breaks down 5. I know 25 is 5 times 5. Now all of these are prime numbers. They won't break down. So there's an implied 2 here. I'm circling groups of 2. I have a 5, so I can pull that 5 out. Nothing else comes out. I have 5 left on the inside, so I am done. Let's watch one more. How about if we have 360? We're trying to break down. I know 10 times any numbers like that, so I can go 36 times 10. Now let's break it down. 36 is 6 times 6, and 10 is 2 times 5. Now, if you're using this method, and I know I'm bringing out groups of 2, as soon as you see 2 that are the same, you can pull them out. So there's a group of 6 I can pull out. And then these 2 are prime numbers. I can't pull them out. But I wouldn't put down 2 times 5. I have 2 times 5 left over, or 10. So my final answer would be 6 square root of 10. So that's how you're going to have to break these things down if you don't have an even square. So let's look at this. Same situation. These are not even squares. Well, actually, look, let me show you. Alright. So 32. I know I can do 4 times 8. And then 4 breaks down into 2 times 2. And 8 breaks down into 2 times 4. And then this 2, that 2 comes straight down. And that 2 comes straight down. And that 4 is 2 times 2. But now I'm going to go ahead and list all of my variables once I get to the final step. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's and 6 y's. 6. Now I'm circling groups of 2. I have 2 there, 2 there. Alright, so I can bring out 2 sets of 2. I have x, 2 x's, x squared. And for y's, I have 2, 2, and 2. I have 3 of those, so that would be 3. Now what do I have left over on the inside? I have a 2 and an x, so 2x. You got to clean that up a little bit. You wouldn't leave that 2 squared. 2 times 2 is 4. You'd have 4x squared, y cubed, square root of 2x. And that would be the final answer. Alright, this is 81. Now look, be careful, this is cubed. I know 81 is 9 times 9. And I know 9 is 3 times 3. So that's the same here, 3 and 3. Now I'm going to list, these are prime, I can't list out anymore. I'm going to list all my variables. I have 2 x's and I have 5 y's. Now I'm looking for groups of 3. There's 3. So I can pull out a 3. I do not have any 3 x's, but I do have 3 y's. So I can pull out a y. Now what do I have left inside? I have a 3. I have 2 x's. And I have 2 y's. And that's how you would break them down. Alright. How about other roots? You're going to be asked for cube roots and the 4th root and the 5th root of things sometimes. Let me show you in the calculator how easy these roots are. Alright, watch. If you got to do the cube root of something, see that 3? Let's just hit 3 on the calculator. Then you're going to hit Math 5. That automatically does the cube root for you. That's telling you it's going to take the cube root. Then you just hit in the number, close the parenthesis, hit enter. Oh, what happened here? Oh, I know, my mistake. Watch again. I made a mistake, forgive me. 3, Math 5. There is no parentheses. Sorry, I was thinking of square root. Alright, now you just hit in the number, 27, hit enter, and it'll tell you what the answer is. Let's watch again. Let me totally clear everything. Alright, this time I'm taking the 4th root, so I'm going to hit 4, Math 5, and then I'm going to just put in the number, 256. Hit enter, and it tells me it's 4. This time it's the 5th root. So I'm going to hit, let me clear, so you can see it one more time, clear everything. Alright, 5. I'm wanting the 5th root, so I hit 5, Math 5. Hit enter. What did I do? Let's see, I did something wrong. Let's see, clear it, let me clear it. 5, Math 5. There we go. And then hit 32. 32. Hit enter, and it'll tell me what it's equal to. 2. So cube roots, 4th roots, 5th roots, all those are easy if you just use the calculator. Alright, sometimes you have to work backwards. On SOLs and tests and things, it's going to say like 6AB is equal to what? All you do, there's an implied 2 here, you got to take this and distribute it to each of them as you're putting it back inside. So I would have 6 squared. 6 times 6 is 36. And then I have a squared. See how that 2 went with the a? And b squared. And that's how you would work it back in backwards. Look at this one. This says cube root. So that means, you know, like there's an implied 1. That 3 goes with that 1, that 2, and that 2. That'd be more like a B than an arrow. Okay, so 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. And then 3 times 2 is 6. So I'd have A6. And 3 times 2, we have that again, is B6. And that's all you would do. Once again, there's the square root. That means 2 times all of these things. Times that 1, that 3, that 4. So 2 times 2 is 4. And 3 times 2 is 6, so I'd have A6. And 4 times 2 is 8, so I'd have B8. And that's how you're going to have to work these back over into it. And that's how you work backwards. Alright, so here's 4 extra credit problems. For 1 and 2, let's find the square roots of each of these. For 3, I want you to show me what would be inside this square root sign. You're working backwards. And the same for 4. 4 is pretty tough. You need to rewind, look at it, do these for extra credit, turn it in to Mr. Riddle, and I hope you now know how to do the roots.